Code 505 is unlike any other entity that Minecraft has ever seen. He was the first ever code of Minecraft's birth. He knows everything about Minecraft, even the true origin of Herobrine, Entity 303, and more. No one really knows why he is created into this. The only thing they know is that whoever encounters him disappear from the internet. Code 505 has many secrets in his sleeve. The only player that ever saw him never came back. All he was doing is just chopping down trees to make his first ever farm in Minecraft. And Code 505 is not able to get onto newer versions of Minecraft, only under 1.8.9. The first time the player saw him, he was confused as to what the creature was. He tried to approach. He used the logs to create planks to try approaching the creature, but as soon as he got up there, he disappeared in an instant. The player thought he was hallucinating. He then went back to the house with the wood that he had. After a while, the player started forgetting about the code 505. After some sleep, he felt a bit relaxed. He started making some fences, and then got a weird feeling that something was watching him, but he didn't know what it was until he looked at his window. The code only put one letter, only one number. The number 0. Code 505, and said nothing else until the player turned around, and then he disappeared like dust. He went outside to check to see if that creature was anywhere, but he couldn't be found. The player then forgot about the entity one more time and searched for a bunch of seeds. He started his small farm, just a very small farm. 3 seeds, 1 water, 3 fences was all he planned for. Until he turned his head onto the hill. Didn't say anything yet, except the code. He was confused what he was doing. He sneakily got up the hill, trying to be undetected by the code. But the code is a part of the game, and it disappeared. He knew the player was watching him. The player then went over and saw that he remembered what this was. It was almost the exact same as his farm. He was confused at first, but then just left it one more time. He trampled the code's farm. And after that, nothing else happened for 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, the player logged on. And saw nothing else of the code. He only had 1 water left. So he tried to go for more water until he saw another player. But it was him. He was highly confused and thought he was hallucinating and that the creature did something to him. He approached himself, and himself did not move but approached even closer. He was confused. He then jumped, and the code did the same. The player was shocked. The code copied every single movement, even this. Instead of a stone sword, it was an iron code. But what struck the player most is this. The code started attacking him. and drew his iron axe. He knew it did more damage. Before he could do anything to go against him, himself disappeared. Leaving one message. But this time it wasn't a 0. It was a 2. It was a 5. The player tried to say hello, but no response. He then became more cautious and went back to his home. The player knew that next time he came onto his world, the code would be there again. So he prepared himself. He didn't know the code's weaknesses, so he got a bunch of water buckets, 64 arrows, and a diamond sword, and he crafted a diamond chest. He didn't have enough for a helmet, so he was in bondage. He went out expecting to see the code, and he did something. This time, the code did something else. The player looked on his left and saw a small hut right outside of his house on his left. The player knew he didn't make this. He knew that the code did, so he had to be cautious. He went back to the house and made something explosive. The player made 4 TNT, big enough to destroy that entire thing and to leave a good crater. He put the TNT in his inventory and the flint and steel right next to his empty hotbar, just so the creature wouldn't know what he was up to. The player thought of tricking him by giving him some food in case the creature was hungry, but this was not the player's intention, as we know. He knocked onto the door of himself, and he kindly opened. He popped up some food and gave 3 pork chop to the creature, but the creature only threw it back to him, aggressively. The player then did it again, and this time there's some casualties. He ran away so that he wouldn't get hit by the blast. He stood, watching as his plan fulfilled, and the creature only as pork chop. He thought he had killed the creature for once and for all, but only made a huge crater. The creature was not scratched. The creature was very unhappy. He drew his diamond sword and started attacking the player. The creature kept attacking him until he went inside his home. He tried to open the door but accidentally dropped his flint and steel. Then the code picked it up, went outside of his house, and lit up his entire home. The player tried to put out the fight, but it was too much. Then, the code sent the final word in chat, which left the player disappeared forever. He said 505. The player then started getting some viruses on his computer. He tried going towards the entity to attack it, but disappeared. His screen started flickering. The only thing he saw was his burning house, dying, and then disappeared forever.